for the next section, section 2, I want to do an introduction to animation. So this is going to be a gentle introduction. What we're going to do is we're going to add 2 lights. One light here, and then I'm going to have them crisscross. So during my animation, one's going to move to this side, and one's going to move to this side, and I'm going to have them different colors. So you'll have, like, during the animation, your peptide will turn from, one side will be like blue and red, and then it will switch. So we can do that very easily. So just, you can toggle your camera view, Shift A, and go down to light. Click on a point light, which is the most basic light that we can work with. And I'm just going to move it up here to the corner using the drag manipulator. Now I might have mentioned this trick, but rather than just repeating that to get the other one, if you just pressed Shift D, you can copy your light. And you can use this for any object, just a quick copy. And I'm going to drag it to the other side. Now, one thing that I should have done, but it's an example to show you, is to click on the collection before I created the lights, because it dropped my lights into one of my peptides. So I'm going to quickly just move those out. I want to put them in this main collection just to make it easier to keep track of them. So let's go ahead and name our lights. You can try any color you want, but I think it would be cool to have, in the video I did purple and blue, so I think it would be cool to try red and blue, so kind of like a 3D effect. So I'm going to name this light on the left, red. Click on the one on the left, click on the one on the right, and I'm going to name this one blue, just to remember which one's which. Now with your light selected, down in the Properties window, you have the Light tab. You can click on that, and a good power in this scene for the blue would be 1500. And you can play around with this if you want more or less colored light. Also, the smaller your radius is, the more harsh the shadows would be, which makes sense. If you have a big object like the sun, the shadows will be very diffuse, whereas if you have a tiny light, you'll get very hard, harsh shadows. So I'm just going to change this to 1, and you can see that our light got a lot bigger. Now I'm going to go over to the other one, click on it, and I'm going to change the power of this one to 1000. Red's a little bit brighter, you'll see, so you can have a little bit less power. And I'm going to change the radius to also 1. Okay, so now we have our 2 lights. If I was to open this up in rendered view, this is what it looks like. And so to change the color, you'll just click on one of your lights. So this one is our blue one. So click on your color, and then just drag this over. You can pick whatever blue color you want. I kind of like this color right here, with the saturation all the way up. And then click on this one, go over to color, and I'm going to drag it to get this red color. All right, so now we get to do some animation. So I'm going to go up to my Z orthographic view so I can see this from the top. So just to mention what we're going to do, this light will move over here and then back, and then this light will move over here and back. And I think you'll be impressed with how easy this actually is to do. So in your editor type, down in the bottom, just go over to your timeline window. This will open up your timeline. So you can see that currently we're set up to render an animation of 250 frames. You can change how many frames you have access to here. So I'm going to change this to 150 just to make it a little bit shorter. And you can control where you are in the timeline by changing this value. So if I wanted to jump to the very end, I could type in 150 and it would move my cursor there. Or if I wanted to move to the middle, 75. So it's easy to move around. So how this works is, let's say I wanted to, since we want to make a looping animation, that means all frames at frame 1 and frame 151 need to be identical so that it just keeps on going. So how I can do this is I'll make sure my cursor's on 1, grab one of my lights, go to Item Properties, and this is where you can see where it's located. It's Location and Rotation. Just right-click any of these and insert keyframes. And you'll see this little keyframe appeared. That means now at frame 1, this light will have this specific location. Now what I can do is let's jump to the frame at the very end, so 151, and I'm going to put in that same location, drop another keyframe. So now, there we go. The beginning and the end are going to be the same. Now, let's go to frame 75 in the middle. And I want this to be over here at that frame, so I'm just going to drag it, grab it, and drag it somewhere over here. And then right-click, insert keyframe. Now let's go ahead and do the same with the other light. Go back to frame 1, location, right-click, insert keyframe, jump to the end, 151, location, insert keyframe, go to the middle, 75, and drag it to the other side. Insert keyframe. So now if we just drag around in this space, you can see it goes to the middle, and then it goes back. And so in our looping animation, you would just kind of see this effect over and over again. And so if we go to our toggle our camera view, and we kind of see what our scene looks like, if I render this animation out just in the shader view, you'll see that it's really fast, so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. We're getting our 24 frames a second during this, and it even shows what it looks like when it's looping. You don't have to touch it. I can also run the animation during the shaded view, but this is going to be a lot slower. You can watch up here. I'm getting 6 FPS, which is not too bad, but you can see kind of the effect, and you can evaluate whether or not you like it. So we got this 3D effect where the red and the blue switches. Kind of reminds me of the intro to the new Star Wars series. Okay, so that's looking very nice. So that's how you animate something. So everything that we're going to do is just going to be simple variations on this. It'll be a little bit more complex with the peptide since there's more options, but it'll basically be the same. So that ends the intro in part 2.